What's up, guys? Adam Patterson here for the channel, and today I wanted to talk to you about one major idea and then give you some hypothetical bullet points about it. The main idea is entrepreneurship, and specifically the dark sides of it that aren't really untold. They're just very unrecognized by people who want to be in this space. Uh, Obviously, everybody looks at entrepreneurs like, and they think of the big ones: Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. You know, the richest people on the top 10s of the Forbes list. But when you think about entrepreneurs, you don't think about all the failures, like Jeff Marco and whoever that is. Nobody knows, right? Because he was unsuccessful. And I'm going to paste something on the screen here that is going to turn a lot of people off from entrepreneurship. And I'm not going to say it's something scary, because it's not something that you truly worry about when you're an entrepreneur. But as you can see here, this is a screenshot of one of my businesses and what is basically going on in our accounting. And as you can see, we're a little more than negative $20,000. So that would be very, very scary if that was debt financed. Luckily, I had a job at the time. I had something that was actually paying the bills and paying for the company itself before starting a different venture. So I was able to go negative $20,000 in this company to kind of see if we could make things work. Sorry about that. I just received a call. Hopefully not from somebody important. But the dark side of entrepreneurship is that 98% of businesses that start fail within the first 3 years. That's just something that you are going to have to recognize. It is something that you are going to have to work through. Failure is a part of this, guys. The fear of failure will stop you from ever trying. Failing doesn't mean that you're done for. It just means that you're going to have to come up with a new solution to a new problem. That's basically all entrepreneurship is. If you want to start a business, solve a problem. And if you find your own problems in your own business, you better be able to solve them, or think creatively to find a way to solve them, or find a mentor who's been through what you're going through to help you solve it. Because they've been there. Anyone who has a successful business has definitely gone through their share of issues, problems, and found a solution to make it through, or they're not making it through right now and they've just ignored the issue. But you would probably hope to find somebody who is in the former and not the latter, who's just ignoring something. But basically, guys, there's a lot of downsides to this. You don't see a lot of it. It's talked about by like the famous people like Gary Vee, but a lot of people don't talk about it. There's a lot of stress that goes into being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are like 3 times more likely to deal with depression and suicidal thoughts. Typically, I don't want to say typically, but they probably weren't the best students in high school, so they were probably set up for failure, because we've all heard the self-fulfilling prophecy that was talked about in high school, where if you think you're a failure, you're probably going to end up a failure, because you continue to repeat in your own mind and your own thoughts in your own head that you're going to be a failure because you couldn't do this well. X does not relate to Y, so school does not relate to business whatsoever. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was a bad student whatsoever. I was naturally pretty intelligent, intellectual, whatever you want to call it. I could pay attention in class, not do any homework, and then still come home with a B. In college, it was roughly the same way until I got to my last 2 years of college. And then it was, don't pay attention in class, just work while you're in class. And you get home, you read a book, maybe you probably didn't do the homework, and then you walk away with a C, which isn't the worst thing in the world, because you're focused on other things. Like, I had a job during college. I was working on building businesses in college, and then of course there was still college where you had to go to classes, but instead of doing that, you were working on businesses, going to work, or you were probably skipping it, playing video games, or just doing something that you thought was much better way to spend your time. I remember skipping class to go to the gym. So there's plenty of other things that I was probably doing. I read a lot of books while in college. I woke up early. I just skipped classes because I didn't want to go. Like, what's the use of being in a class when all they do is repeat the textbook? So those were things when they put their slideshows up online and they don't really ever skew off of them, and you know that from going to the first 3 to 5 classes, you're like, okay, so there's no point in me going even if there is an attendance grade. So you kind of weigh out what you can do and what you can't do. But back to the main points here. Entrepreneurship isn't all sunny days. In fact, most of them are probably rainy. Most of them, you're going to have a problem, you're going to have an issue, and you're going to have to think of a way to solve it. Eventually, you will be able to hire people who should be able to solve a lot of the problems for you so that you can sit on top and take care of the 2 to 3 bigger decisions that you want to make in a day, and that you want to push forward. But until that, you're solving problems, you're building a process. It's rough. I'm building a distribution company right now, which is where that phone call came from, and where a lot of my outgoing phone calls go to. And it's certainly not easy being in the sales position. Most people don't even want to do sales, so think about doing sales while also building the back end of the operations side, handling product fulfillment, project management. There's just tons of different things. You have to work with contractors, you have to work with manufacturers, you have to work with other distribution networks. There's just a lot of things that go on that people don't see. Everybody sees the dollar signs when somebody's made it. You never see the darkness of the days when they're struggling through it to make it. And then after that, it's all about replicating success, basically. So you find one success, you find what you did right, and you replicate that. If you failed, you should probably look, because not even in failure, there's probably 20% of things that you did correct. So you take the 20%, you do more of that, and you change that 80% that screwed you over. But you should definitely be able to listen to your customers. If you're making sales phone calls, if you're a salesman and you're thinking about just sending it, doing your own entrepreneurship thing, that's where I started. I started in a customer service role in a grocery store, and then I moved up to management in a grocery store, and then I moved to a sales role. And I spent 2 years in sales, so I learned the in and outs of selling all throughout the time of going through college. I was doing internet, online, e-commerce selling, so I learned over the phone and in-person sales, and then of course there's just self-education. I learned best from hands-on experience and reading. I don't do well when somebody just talks at me like this YouTube video kind of is, so hopefully that's more of your learning style. It wouldn't work so well for me. If it doesn't work well for you, let me know. I can always set up like slideshow presentations, but the experience is the best teacher, but you should definitely always learn from the wisdom of somebody else. And then depending on what type of sales you do, there's better tactics to use in each. I've sold lower dollar value things most of the time just online, because it's far easier to sell something for less than $200 to one single person who's the only person who has to worry about spending that money than it is to sell something that's $100,000 to a company where the guy, if he makes a wrong decision, could lose his job, so he's probably A, worried about that, and then 2, if something goes wrong in the process, he's got 30 other people in the company, or even 5, or even 3, we'll just call it 3 people else in the company who will come to him and be like, why the hell did you make this decision? So there's a lot of different aspects that you have to put into place and think about while you're doing business. And if you need help with any of those things, I can be a resource for you. I can point you to resources. But obviously I can't give you my old sales manager's number, I can't give you his email, and he probably does not have time to answer either one of us anymore these days. So, take it how you want to take it. But basically, all the days aren't sunny, but you should definitely find a mentor to help you through it. You should definitely have some friends who are good to talk to. Talk to your parents, they're always helpful, right? And then, worst comes to worst, go on YouTube, go on Instagram, maybe not Instagram, I don't recommend Instagram, but go on YouTube look up some sales techniques, look up some sales tactics. Make sure you're specific with your search so that it's like tailored towards what you're actually trying to sell. If you're the sales guy, if you're the back end management guy, I'm not gonna say it's not hard. It's definitely tedious. That's the back end side is sucky work. I don't enjoy it too much. It'll feel like, for lack of better terms, bitch work for the most part. But somebody's got to do it, and that somebody is still a 50% owner, 30% owner of the same company that the dude who's sitting on top making all the sales is making, and they're making the same amount of money, they got the same amount of equity, and everything is sunshiny days. But at the same time, when you have equity, you have stress, because you have responsibilities to yourself, and no one's ever going to want to work in your company as hard as you do. So if you're not putting the work in, don't expect somebody else to put the work in. Alright? But rant over. The dark side is a dark side, but once you make it, you'll be thankful for the dark side. But that's the talk for today, guys. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, possibly. Not possibly. Subscribe. Alright? Cool. But yeah, leave a comment with whatever you think about this. Tell me what you sell if you're in a sales position. If you're on more of a back end side, what do you do? Like, are you in warehousing? What do you do? There's a lot of interesting things. I might need some new people, so if you like my personality, if I like your personality, maybe we could team up, because I don't want to do everything. I don't have time to do everything, and I like to focus more on the selling. So if you sell stuff and you're good at it, let me know, because that would be great. And if you're on the back end side where you build websites, you work in warehousing, you load orders, you like purchasing, you like working with manufacturers, you like talking to manufacturers, again, let me know. I'm interested. But cool. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Adam out.